So guys, a long time ago, when Mutations were first introduced to Ark back in November of 2016, I did a video on it, and the video got a lot of attention. I honestly don't think it's my best work, and I'm very critical of my own work, but I honestly don't think that video fully explains what I was trying to explain in a good way. So I thought we might revisit that, and I've wanted to do this for a long time, and right now I think we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna re-explain mutations in Ark, and how do you get them, what are they, and everything to do with that. So, if at any point in this video you find yourself liking this video, or if you find it helpful, hit the like button, really does help out, I do appreciate it, and let's begin. So, first of all, we have two main questions. What are mutations, and how do you get them? So, what a mutation is that it is a variation in a creature that is the offspring of two other creatures that you have bred. The variation can come in either a stat or a color mutation. So we refer to a color mutation as the variation in a color, like over here, this one right here, got a tiny little color mutation. You can see right there, it's a blue. As you can tell, the parents did not have that blue, so we can determine that that is in fact a mutation. Over here we have just a normal one. It just looks the exact same as its parents, and that's because this one is mutated, but it doesn't have a color mutation, it has a stat mutation. So we're going to go over all this in a second, but I just wanted to quickly explain that. And how do you get mutations? My honest answer to that is, I have a couple tips, okay? But the answer is going to seem really simple and kind of almost worthless, but simple answer is breeding. If you want to get mutations, just keep breeding. There is no trick to it. A lot of people seem to think that if you breed like siblings together, that helps. If you breed like parents and babies together, that helps. I can tell you right now that that is actually not the case. It's a huge misconception that a lot of people have. Obviously in real life, that type of thing would probably happen. You'd get mutations in humans if you were doing that. I would not recommend that, by the way. But in the game, it is not that case, and if you breed siblings, it will not increase the chances of mutation. So I just wanted to get that point across before we went on. But the main idea is build yourself a nice big pen, put one really good male in there, and put a female in there, and if you have plenty other females, chuck them in too. If they have decent stats that you want to actually use, chuck them in as well. You only need one male. So pretty much just put them on Wander and let them breed, pick up the eggs. If you guys are on official, obviously it's going to have a huge cooldown timer, so try to get quite a few females together and then breed them up. Hatch them all together, I'd recommend. And another thing that you want to do is when you tame out the creatures, make little folders inside their inventories like this, because honestly, it does help out. As you can see with this right here, if I had pumped in a bunch of levels, I might not know what his original stats were, and it would make it a lot harder to determine what the mutations on the offspring were. So pretty much just create folders. I have health. Health is that, stamina. It doesn't cost anything to do this, and obviously these folders will stay unless somebody manually deletes them or the creature dies, and in that case it's going to be worthless anyway. So I'd recommend the folders over putting a note written with all the stats in it. That's my honest opinion about all of that. And as you can see, I've done that as the same inside of the male here. So in this example, we are using Dimetrodons. We're using a male and a female that I've been breeding with. I've got quite a few here. This is all just mods to help me get this done quick, essentially. You don't need any of this. This is not vital to what I'm doing right here. So over here is two offspring. We have a color mutation right here. As you can see, it's got a mutation. You can tell right there that it's a color mutation. Color mutations are really easy to spot because it's gonna have a color that the parents did not have. And as you can tell in this one actually came out really nice. It came out with a red and white, or red and yellow sail, which looks really nice, but that is not a mutation. The blue is. Also inside of this creature, there is another mutation, because when you get a color mutation, you not only get that, you also get one stat mutation. And this is something that I learned recently enough. I honestly didn't believe it when I first heard people telling me. I was like, no, you don't. But when I looked into it, you know what? I'm wrong, and I admit that. You actually do get a stat mutation every single time that you get a color mutation. So right here, the stats look pretty similar to the father's, but I've already checked and the torpor is actually mutated. So that was 1092, As you can see, completely different to the parents, completely different. This one right here has a blue color mutation on the side fin, and it also has a torpor mutation. So obviously torpor, you know, on this guy is not going to be great. It would have been better if it was health or stamina or weight or melee or something, but that's just the luck of the draw. Like, you will get whatever stats it hands to you, and with this type of mutation, if I was breeding, I would take this one completely out of the chain. I would not breed with this anymore, because that is not something I want in the offspring. So fair enough, it has a nice color mutation, but I would completely pull this out. And if you want that blue, you can put that in later. Trust me, we'll go over that in a second. Oh man. So right here we have another example. This one has two stats that are mutated, because when you get a stat mutation, you get two stats mutated, not just one, two. And the way that it works is that the stat goes up by 2 levels instead of 1. On these stat mutations, whatever stat mutation, because like that one over there would have had 2 levels up on the torpor. This one right here has a stamina mutation, which is 2 levels up from what its parents had. So as you can see, we have 1380 over here, 1320, 1260. So it got this stat right here, except it mutated it. So we got 1380. So this one right here has a stamina mutation. What else does it have? Because 2 stats get mutated, remember that. So I checked it out, and it looks like this one also got a torpor mutation. So the stamina mutation on a normal creature that's maybe not a Dimetrodon that you can't ride is obviously a very good stat to get mutated. If you got that on a Rex or a Uteranus, especially a Uteranus actually, that would be very good. So when you are breeding, keep in mind what creatures you are actually using. If you're using Rexes, you probably want to try to get a health mutation or a melee mutation. Or if you're breeding Uteranus, you probably want stamina to get more roars out, and maybe more health to be more tanky. There's just like, whatever kind of breeding you are doing, you'll want different stat mutations for that. And over here, we're actually going to hatch up a couple more Dimetrodons, so I can show you a couple more examples and we can find out what the mutation is together. So do we have any mutations? This is how you tell, by the way. You pretty much go into their inventory, show ancestors, and then you check up here or here. This is where you'll see where mutations are. If this number right here, it's currently 1, if that was 20 or more, if it was more than 20, then this creature will not be able to produce any more mutations when it is breeding, if it's breeding with another partner that has 20 mutations. This number right here, a lot of people seem to think that, hey, I have 1,000 here, like, oh, it's 1,000 mutations on it. It doesn't actually have that many, because once it passes 20, you will not obtain any new mutations at all. It's a huge misconception that the people of Ark have, and that pretty much explains it. Once it gets past 20, it's worthless. The number doesn't mean anything. It will just keep going up and up and up, but it doesn't mean anything. So that is something that I just want to get across there. So inside of this one, we see that it does actually have a mutation. So what is the mutation? I can't really tell, pretty much. We have the parents over here. They're all on follow, aren't they? We have y'all. Cool. So we have the parents over here. That is not a parent. Here's one of them. He kind of has like the same kind of colors as his parents. So he must have stat mutations then, I guess. So let's take a look. So he has... Okay, we're just really quickly gonna do this because this is gonna bug me if I don't. Alright, now I could unfollow. Sweet. So on this one here, he has 3220 health, 1260. I know that's from the mother, I believe. I've seen that before. I think the torpor might be mutated on this one. But let me check if the health is a mutation. 32, yeah. So that health is mutated. As you can see, it got its mother's health and it mutated it. So let's go back and have a look. So as you can see, 3220. That is 2 levels above what the mother had there, which means that this one has a health mutation. That is something that you want. You definitely want a health mutation on a creature if you're planning to use it to fight or whatever. Right here, I can tell straight off the bat that this thing is actually color mutated. It got a nice full green body mutation right there. So, how do the color mutations actually work? Well, this is pretty simple. Color mutations can affect any region on the creatures. So different creatures have different amount of regions. Right here we are working with Dimetrodons. They have 5 regions. Right here, I'll show you an image. Those are the different regions that you can get colors on. So in a lot of creatures, there might be 3 or 4. I'd say that's probably the average. But on some creatures like the Dodo, there is 6, or the Stego also has 6. And then you could also have the Dire Bear only has 2 regions where you can get a color mutation. And then obviously, I believe the Megatherium, I think, actually also has only 2 regions where you can get a mutation. So some creatures have like a huge amount of like variety that you can get, and some creatures only have 2 little spots that you can get, and it just varies by creature. So Dodos are really good because you can get 6 different colors on it, which is just, it would look really funky. But a Dire Bear has 2 colors and they blend really well. I've seen it myself. Dire Bear mutations are honestly probably one of my favorite ones because they look really good. So that's kind of how the region thing works. It just picks a region at random and it mutates it with a random color from a list of 56 colors. It can be any one of 56 colors, and there's a more likely chance that it's gonna be on that list between number 1 and 18, essentially. I don't know the exact reason for that, but apparently somebody looked into the code and apparently that's an actual thing. It's more likely going to be number 1 to 18. That doesn't mean that you're not gonna get other colors on that list. That just means that you're more likely to get those colors out of a color mutation. So when you actually have your color mutation, you'll probably notice if you're getting a couple together, you might actually notice there's kind of a little bit of a pattern. For myself and everything on my channel, a lot of people like to point out the fact that we keep getting blue, and the reason for that is because there's a lot of blues on that list. There's a huge amount of blues on the list. Colors like blue, red, green, I find are colors that you'll get a lot of. I find that I keep getting a lot of yellow, but that's because there's 2 yellows on the number 1 to 18 list, and that's more likely why I'm getting a lot of yellows when I'm actually breeding. So yeah, that just kind of explains it a little bit. It can be any one of those colors, and it's completely random. If you're looking for a specific color on a specific region, you might not get that one because it's probably going to take you a long ass time to actually get that. It could be 1,000 more mutated creatures before you get that. There's a very small percentage chance that you'll get a specific color that you're looking for on a specific spot on the creature that you're looking to breed, and that would vary between whatever creature you're looking to breed. Because if it's a Dodo, you could potentially you could be looking for the beak to be blue, maybe a specific shade of blue. Let's say number 53. You're looking for number 53 on a Dodo's beak. Well, that's really unlikely that you actually get that specifically. You might get the 53 blue on another part of the Dodo, but getting it specifically on the beak is very unlikely. So just bear that in mind when you're trying to breed. If you're looking for a specific color on a specific creature, it's going to be very unlikely that you'll actually get what you're looking for. You might get something close to it though, which is honestly still worth it anyway. So when it comes to the stat mutations on the creatures, you'll get a stat mutation that is 2 levels above a normal stat. We've already mentioned that, but I just want to mention it again because it can be any one of the stats. Bar speed is something that doesn't really change, though I think it can still go into that without even changing the stat itself, which is something to bear in mind. So obviously you can get it on melee, you can get it on weight, anything you hear. I find that like when you are breeding, if you get it like a food stat mutation, that's probably not going to be something that you're going to want further on in the chain, and we're going to go over that probably in a separate video about how to actually stack the mutations and what to do when you are actually breeding with mutated creatures. So I just wanted to mention that really quick, that it can be any one of the stats, and it honestly can be really good, and apparently it can also hinder the creature. I've never seen it myself, but supposedly you can get stats that are actually lower than what the parents actually have. I've never seen it myself, or maybe I have seen it, but I haven't actually noticed it happen. But that is something that can happen when you are breeding. So guys, I hope this video helped. I hope I got all the points across correctly. I'm gonna obviously be very careful when I'm editing this so it makes sense, because sometimes I find that I ramble a lot and repeat myself slightly. So anyway, I hope it turned out well. If you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys have any more tips or anything like that, any more information, anything that maybe I should have mentioned, please do let me know, and we'll probably revisit that in another video, because as I mentioned, I do want to do a video on stacking the mutations and what to do when you have the mutations, like what do you do from there, like how do you breed with them, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, hit the like button if you found this helpful. Do subscribe if you guys want to see any more videos on this. And also, I do have survival series where I get mutations naturally anyway. So I will see you in the next one.